All right, what's up, guys? Just wanted to make a really quick video about this lease option deal we just did. I'm gonna try to make this one really quick, but whenever I say I'm gonna do a video really quick, it tends out to be a little bit longer than I want it to be. But really quick, let's get into this. So basically, this list we got from PropStream. I don't know if you guys have PropStream, but you guys need to get PropStream. Um, Let me close this out really quick. So basically, we pulled the list on PropStream. Things slowing down a little bit. And then once we pulled the list on PropStream, what we did was, let me log in. So basically, this is PropStream. This is where you get all your data from. You can go in here and you can filter. You can pull different lists. You can pull foreclosures. We could put, but what we actually did was we pulled absentee expired listings. So this is what we did. We went to PropStream. We built our list, and then what we did was we took that list. We put it through batch skip tracing. Now sometimes I'll use Max Maxwell's company, which is REI Skip. They both work fine, but in this situation, I use Batch Skip, and sometimes I'll use Scott Oots' company to do my skip tracing as well. So now, once you do your skip tracing, you get those back. What I do is I go to slide text, and I basically upload that list to slide text, and I just basically start out my blast text messaging. As you can see, this is basically the blast text message I sent out to them, and we send that out to quite a few people. And typically, you get a lot of no's, you get a lot of FU's, you get a lot of not interested. You'll get people like this that says 385 non-negotiable. But then every now and then you'll get someone that says, "Hey, I'm ready to sell." Okay? So, of course, you're going to get a lot of riffraff, but at least I don't have to make a million phone calls and I don't have to dial a bunch of people. I just send out the blast text, and then we also do uh, the ringless voicemail. So the slide text is the texting service, but slide broadcast is the RVM. So these things are pay as you go. So you're not really subscribing to anything. So right now, the only thing that I subscribe to is PropStream. PropStream is the only one that I subscribe to just because I need the information fast. Um, Now you don't need PropStream either. You could basically go to totalviewrealestate.com. I used to go to this website here. Where is it? Total View Real Estate. I used to just go over here and do my comps. But the thing with PropStream is that it gives you so much more information and detail. And then there's a couple other things that I like about PropStream. So I think it's worth having it. So that's why I have PropStream. But okay, so once we pull the list on PropStream, then we either use one of these two or Scott Oots' company to do the skip tracing. Once we skip trace the leads, then we'll go ahead and dump them into slide text and slide broadcast. We push them out. I also have a couple cold callers. So I have my cold callers actually dialing, and then I also just blast text, blast RVM, right? So now I got this one guy who's interested. He contacted me back. This gentleman, and we're going to do the numbers here really quickly. So I'm going to show you guys what happened. So it was a lease option. So basically, this gentleman, he contacted me. You know, he's an older gentleman, so he's like retirement age, and he just moved down to South Florida. The property is here in New Jersey. And what happened was, um, his wife, I believe, just had hip surgery, and he just didn't want to maintain the property. He actually had a tenant there, right? So the tenant is there, and he just doesn't want to manage the property anymore. He doesn't want to deal with it. Actually, he wanted to just sell it. But after going over the numbers with him, so now these are the numbers basically I went over with him. So basically, the property was worth $267,000, right? So now I asked him, what is he trying to sell the property for? He told me he's looking to get 267,000, but he needs 10,000 up front. So I'm like, so basically you want 277 because if you're asking me 10,000 up front plus 267, you're asking me purchase price plus $10,000. So at that point, I'm like, well, you want me to pay over retail, which lease options work pretty well for people who want over asking price. And I understand, he was in a situation where he needed the money, and at that point, I just kind of evaluated the numbers. So when it comes to a lease option, what your main focus is to try to figure out the monthly rents. Between the monthly rents and the mortgage payment. So if there's a spread in between the monthly rent, what the property can rent for, and what the mortgage is, then it makes sense. Okay, so at that point I asked them, okay, how much is your mortgage payment? He told me it was 1,700, but after some digging and a little bit, it totaled to 1,790, right? So at that point I was asking him, well, what do you think the property would be worth as far as renting it out in that area? And the condition of the property is perfect, by the way. So in order to do a lease option, it's better to have a property that's in superior condition, very nice condition, but that's not a need. The property could still need some work, and you could still find a tenant buyer who's willing to fix the property up. But if you don't, I mean, it's always better to find a property that has that's doesn't need much repair. So lease options are pretty good when the property doesn't need much repairs. If it needs a little repair, that's great. But if it needs a lot of repair, like major rehab, then you want to wholesale. Okay, so at this point, I was trying to figure out a way to help my client because I understand he's in a situation where he just cannot, his age, and he just cannot maintain the property anymore. He already moved down to Florida, and he doesn't want to do the back and forth. And he actually wasn't, I'm not sure if he was getting along with the tenant or not, but I think he was just basically a tired landlord. And I mean, there is no room there as far as coming down on this 267. Okay, so now the second thing was I asked them, well, I know you have a tenant in there. How much is this tenant paying? He said $2,200 a month. So at that point, I knew 2,200 and 1,790. That was a pretty good spread, right? So now I asked them, can I speak to your tenant? I need to figure out if he's going to stay there or if he's going to be moving out if we were to take over this property. So now I gave the tenant buyer a call, and he told me he loved the property and he wants to stay there. But the thing is, his credit is not so great. So he filed bankruptcy a little while ago, and he's still working to repair his credit. So, which is fine because a lease option gives you the tenant buyer time to repair their credit. So I asked him, listen, don't worry about that. Do you want to stay in the property? Do you love the property? He says, oh man, we love the property. We've been praying about this. This is where I want to be. My kids love the school district. So his wife loves the area. His kids loves the school district. Like, they want to be there. They want to own the property, but the credit was the issue. So I told him, listen, I might be able to keep you in there and do a rent to own with you. Would you be interested in something like that? He says, absolutely. He'd love to rent the property. So at that point, I told him, listen, you're going to need a down payment. And also, you're going to need the rent is probably going to go up $100. Are you cool with that? He says, absolutely. How much does he need to come up with as a down payment? So I told him, look, you're going to need to come up with $10,000 because, obviously the seller wants 10,000. So at that point, I figured I'd tell him, you need 10,000 down, even though I wasn't going to make much on the front end because the seller needed a pretty much a large down payment. And I kind of sensed that the buyer, he didn't have a lot of money as far as capital because he's working on his credit. He's working back. He's trying to build everything back up. So I empathized for him, and I understood. Okay, I need to help him out, and I'm not just trying to take advantage of people. See, this business, you gotta try to help people. Like this guy here, he wanted 10,000. He wants over asking price. I have to help him get that. I have to help him out of this situation that he's in. And then the buyer also has bad credit. Well, not bad credit, but he's working on his credit and he's trying to buy the property, but he doesn't want to lose this house because he doesn't want me to kick him out. He doesn't want me to put a new tenant in there because I could literally market the property on a rent to own and then collect 20,000 down, 2,500 a month because I know the property would rent for about $2,500 per month in that area, and then I could sell the property on a rent to own lease option for a lot more than this 267. So, but the thing was, I wanted to help this buyer stay there because his kids are already there. He loves the area. His wife loves the area. So I was doing my best to keep him there and not having him transition. So I figured, okay, if I could just like break even, then I would be okay because in the long run, it makes sense. And for the monthly cash flow, it would make sense for me because I got to protect myself, I got to protect the seller, and I got to protect the buyer. So these are three people I have to make sure they all win. All of us have to win in order for this to make sense. So now I asked the buyer, okay, how much can you come up with? He asked me how much does he need to come up with? I told him come up with 10,000, and he told me he couldn't do 10,000, but what he could do is 8,000. So at that point, I'm like, 8,000. So now, if he can only come up with 8,000 and the seller wants 10,000, that would mean that I would have to, out of pocket, come out with $2,000. So at that point, I'm like, okay, I got the two grand, so I can make it work. But do I really want to put that on the line to help this buyer and to help this seller? Or should I just move on, look for a different deal? Or should I kick this buyer out of the property? But all of these, again, I'm trying to help everyone. It's not always about you. It's not about you making a boatload of money. It's about you helping people. This business is about helping people. Yes, I could have got rid of the buyer and got a whole new 20,000 large down payment, but then this guy and his family would be in the streets, and then it's very short notice, and he would have to go look for a new place to live. That would not work for him. It would work for the two of us, but it would not work for him. And me, I have a heart, so I can't kick kids out and their parents in the streets just to make more money. So at that point, I figured, okay, I got to come up with 2,000. So for me, I have to also make sure it makes sense for me. So at that time, I told him, payments are gonna go up to $2,300. Are you cool with that? He's like, yeah, I'm fine with that. I've been living here for 2 years. I plan on being here for as long as I can. If I could buy the house, that'd be great. I've been praying on it. So I'm like, okay, perfect. So if you do the math, 1,790 from 2,300, that's a $510 per month cash flow. So now if you calculate 36 months, that's $18,360. And then I also told him that I would be selling him the property at $280,000. Now, if you take 267,000 from 280, that leaves me with an additional $13,000 once he purchases. Now, if you do the math on these numbers here, now at the end of the day, this is basically what I walk away with within a 36-month time frame. Now, $29,000 may seem large to some people, but this is a 36-month period. So, imagine if someone tells you you're going to get paid $29,000, but you make that 3 years. That's not really a lot of money, but at the same time, this is only one deal. So imagine if you do 10 of these deals, in 1 year or even in 1 month. So that's the goal. And this is what a lease option looks like. So basically, we'll do a small recap really quick. So the seller wanted 10,000, buyer can only come up with 8,000. So I come up with the difference, right? So between the monthly rents, the buyer is paying 2,300. The seller is paying 1,790. I'm paying the seller 1,790, but the buyer is paying 2,300. So between the 23 and the 1,790, I'll be collecting 510 per month, 36 months. That's 18,360, right? And then 13,000 between the sales price, which is at the end of the 36-month term. So now we're walking away with a $29,000 deal. All I had to come out of pocket with is $2,000. Okay, so for $2,000 and you get a return of $29,000, would you do this deal? At the end of the day, I would do it, but some people, they might have not want to put up capital. And at the end of the day, it's trying to help the buyer and trying to help the seller. I try to help everyone. I try to help as many people as I can. Sometimes if I have to take a loss up front, but if you think about it, this $2,000 within 4 months, I'll break even. I'll break a little bit more than even, actually, because it's 510, and after 4 payments, I'll be up $2,040. So if you look, it makes sense. So in 4 months, I'll break even, but then the rest of these payments are all profit. Okay, so this is basically how a lease option works. I hope you guys got some value out of this one. It's basically finding out what the seller wants and then finding out a buyer that can pay a little bit more on this side, this side, this side. Typically, a proper lease option is basically when you make money now, you make money within the cash flow every month, and then you make money when the property sells. But in this situation, I actually had to give up my upfront profit now. But again, it's only because I didn't want to kick the buyer out. Now, if I wanted to, I could have kicked the buyer out, and then I would have collected 20,000 up front, 2,500 a month, and I probably would have sold the property for 280. And so the numbers would have been a lot bigger. But, when you have a heart and you just want to help people, it's okay to make less, because in the end, it's a rewarding feeling to be able to help people. So I can do more deals, All right, guys. I hope you guys got some value out of this one. I hope this video is not too long. I try to keep them short, but for some reason, they become longer and longer. All right, guys. Oh, check this out. As you guys can see, my trading platform is up. And this morning, I took a trade. Nice win on this one right here. CODX. Also, check this out. While the market is taking a dump, look at this. Let me show you guys real quick. Look at this. Everyone's crying right now. The market went from 339, 338 area all the way down to 274. Everyone's crying. Their whole IRA is being it's going to zero. Everybody today is going crazy for the past couple weeks. Everyone's been crying. So you can see how the market just was up here and it tanked. Everyone's losing their whole life savings right now. And this is why you want to learn how to day trade, because every day when you day trade, instead of having your money in the markets long term, when there's a situation like this happening, right? What you want to do is you want to learn how to day trade, and that way you can identify stocks like this that are going sky high, and you just buy these ones and you sell them and you make a nice profit. So the market does not really affect day traders. It affects long-term buy and hold people. But when it comes to day trading, it doesn't really affect us because every single day there is a stock that's doing some big moves. I got in right here. Let me zoom in a little bit there. So this morning I got in about right here. I got out about right there, buying 3,000 shares. I made a pretty nice profit, and I got home and I got out and I made my daily goal. This stock right here paid pretty well this morning. And then after I sold, this thing just kept ripping and ripping and ripping and going up to the moon. So again, look at this. Just kept going and going and going and going and going and going. But again, if you're learning how to day trade, you don't have to take losses like everyone else who's in stocks like this, where they're just stuck in their IRAs and they don't have any control over their IRAs. These Wall Street people are telling them, no, you can't sell now, you can't sell now, while the stock market continues to plummet and they're losing their life savings. And these people will not get them out of these positions because they don't want their firm or whatever to show these huge losses, which they're gonna take this loss anyway. So, but a lot of people are getting hurt. A lot of people are getting hurt with these IRA people who's got their money locked up. Also, if you have your money locked up in IRAs like this situation here, and you need better ways to make money with real estate, contact me because I'll be able to help you guys out. Take some of this money away from the market if you're an IRA investor, or you can learn how to do day trading and manage your own money and not lose your life savings. So either way, you just got to learn how to play the markets and the real estate and stock markets. Once you learn both, you're golden. You know, like I'm not buying and holding and letting my life savings go down the drain. So what I do is I trade stocks like this that are skyrocketing. So basically, this morning I traded this one, and then I took a small profit on this one here as well. So as you can see, there are stocks that are always moving up. You just gotta be smart about it, and you gotta have a strategy. I have one strategy that I use for day trading, and I have, and then I do the real estate investing as well. So, learn how to do this. It's pretty easy. You just got to know what to pick every morning, and I teach you how to do all that. Okay. All right, guys. Hope you guys got some value out of this, and hope you guys go out there and try some lease options, because now I have $510 coming in every month. That's amazing. So, let's do some deals. So I'll chat with you guys a little bit later.